This video covers reports in Spider Impact, so let's dive right in. So reports is a section right here on the left. You can click on it, and it's just like any other section in Spider Impact. Everything's organized by organization, and these are Mobile World Incorporated example organization reports. I've got red measures report, shows me all my red measures in the software. Here's downward trending measures, you know, that kind of thing. When you click New Report, there are 4 options for your reports. SQL reports are really advanced. These are seldomly used. They're for administrators where you can write reports SQL directly against the underlying data. The vast majority of the time, you're going to do a scorecard report, an initiative report, or a dataset report. Let's start with scorecards. So these are canned reports. They're things that get you started right out of the box. For example, a scorecard item owner and updater report will show you all of the owners and updaters for the current organization by default. There are settings that you can change, but you know the defaults are usually great, and it spits out a report that looks like this. By default, you're going to see 3 sample scorecard items, only the first 3. And if you want to see the whole thing, you go over to the View tab, and it runs your report. Here we are back at the Edit tab, where you can manipulate things and change the way your report is built. Let's go to New Report. We don't need to save that. And we're going to go to Scorecards and choose the Advanced Report Designer. This is going to skip the whole wizard steps that the other reports have and just dump you right into a report that's showing every single KPI for 3 periods. Again, I can go over to the View tab and I can choose, or I can see, these are all the KPIs in the software. It's just going to list them one after another. You can modify the report. You can click the plus button and choose which columns you want to add. So I'm going to add the organization, and because these are KPIs, I'm going to add the updaters. And you can really quickly add columns by just clicking the plus button and choosing which columns you want from the list. If you want to drag and drop things to reorder, you can do that. And you can change formatting of these columns. For example, let's say we want the organization to be bold and extra large font, and I want it to be a light color, right? Or aligned right or something like that. You can change a lot of different formatting in the report to make it look however you need to. You can rename the column headers. By default, it's just the field name. This is organization. So we're going to go over here and we're going to say set column. I'm going to change it to just org in this example. And you can group. So we're going to click org and group using this field. And so now it's grouping all the KPIs by organization. So when we go over here to view the report, here's one organization and it lists its KPIs. Here's the financial KPIs. Here's the customer support KPIs, right? Let's ungroup this. For the calendar period range, all KPI values have to be within a calendar period, and you can edit that. So you can switch it to be quarterly or whatever calendar period you have set up in the software. I'm going to say 3 periods earlier to the current period, and we're going to add an additional calendar period so we show a range here. If you want to add additional fields that change over time, you can. There's KPI value. We're going to add the goal. So now it's showing the KPI value and the goal for each of those 4 months. And you can drag and drop the goal relative to the KPI value horizontally, but you can also go up and take the entire column, or the entire row rather, and so now it's KPI value and goal for each of those 4 periods, right? And I can delete this. Now it's just showing the KPI value for the 4 periods. If you don't want to see that column because it's the KPI value over and over and over again, you can click on it and choose hide this header. What that means is when you're over in the View tab, it's not going to show the KPI value column header, right? It's just going to show you the 4 periods repeating over and over and over. So that's the general idea of reports. You add columns, you drag and drop them around, you change the formatting, and you move on. Let's take a look at another type, which is initiatives. So initiatives is exactly the same kind of flow as scorecards, except for it's a different type of data, right? So here are all my initiatives. You can add filters, and you can choose fields, right? So I say budget remaining and completion date. Well, there's no completion date, so we can delete that one in this situation. But and let's say I want to take my budget remaining and put it over here, and I can run my report. And again, you can sort and order and do everything else like you can with the rest of the reports. What's interesting about initiatives is that they're a little bit different than scorecard reports. Scorecard reports, when there's a KPI value, it has to be for a calendar period. What's your KPI value? Well, it needs to be for a calendar period. For initiatives, it's just going to show you the latest data. So for example, in this situation, the Migrate Servers to the Cloud initiative, it's currently $2,500 under budget. But if I want to see what how the initiatives were performing in the past, I can do that by adding an optional repeat by calendar period. So it's required for KPIs and it's optional for initiatives. In this situation, I can see build an SEO capability. In July of 2021, I was 11,000 over budget, and then 29,000 over budget, and then 61,000 under budget, right? So I can see how initiatives perform over time, and I'll probably move that one in there, and I can see, okay, this one was 10 days early and 13 days early, but this is my current budget remaining because it's not listed underneath a particular calendar period. The last type of report we're going to look into is datasets. So datasets are a little bit different than the other ones because there's no structured data. We don't know. For KPI values, we know we're going to want to see the scorecard item name. We want to see the value over time. Same thing with initiatives. For datasets, we don't know what you want to see because it's completely unstructured data. So we're going to choose the device sales dataset. It shows me for my fictitious company, Mobile World, device sales over time. And you can just choose now which columns you want to add. So I'm going to add customer name. I'm going to add the point of contact email. I'm going to add my point of contact phone number, probably the sale date, the sale price, and probably the sales employee. All right, so I've built my report out, and this is just, I can go to the View tab, and I can see all of the sales for all time. This is what my report looks like. Okay, let's go back to the Edit tab. And I can save this report. And I can come back and I can export it to PowerPoint. I can export it to Excel. I can have this thing email it every night. But let's say I want to get a little bit fancy with this report. So in this situation, we're going to I don't think I need that one. In this situation, we're going to group by sales employee. All right, great. So now we've got every single sale for all time, which is thousands of sales in this data set. Here's all the sales from Delphiny, right? And there's the sale price and then sale date, and there's thousands and thousands and thousands of sales. Okay, back to the Edit tab. What we can do is do something called hide individual records. And what this will do is this will aggregate all the data in the columns here for that particular, whatever you're grouping on. In this situation, it's by sales employee. So let me show you how this works. So I'm going to say show individual records, and I'm going to turn it off. And so now it's going to aggregate all these columns. Some make sense, some don't. Or they all make sense, but they might not be useful. So now in this situation, Russell Cork is a sales employee, and there's not that many records because we're only showing one row for every group because this is aggregated data. We're hiding the individual records, and we're only showing the actual groups themselves. So number of unique customer names, right? A lot of these text values aren't super helpful, so we can remove those. Number of unique emails, it's going to be 220 all across for this person. Number of unique sales data, it's not exactly the same, right? Because you might have sold the same customer 3 different times, and so it's not always the same. But this particular person had that many unique sales dates. But anyways, here's the sales price sum for Russell Cork. All right, that's wonderful. Another thing you can do is you can repeat this column by. So when you repeat a column for a KPI, it's there by default, and it shows you the KPI for a particular month. Same thing with for initiatives, you can repeat by a calendar period, and you can see what that initiative's values were for that calendar period. For data sets, you can repeat by date. I can repeat this column, and I can choose sale date, and it's going to show me how many different sales dates over time, but you can repeat by any field you want. For example, I'm going to repeat by country. So now I can see every single employee, how much they've sold in every country, right? And I can repeat again if I want. And let's say I'll repeat again by date. So we're going to click here and repeat again by sale date. And it's going to show me 3 periods by default. And the sales price sum, I don't need that thing over and over and over again. So I'm going to drag that one up to the top. Hide it. And now I've got my beautiful report showing by sales employee for the last 3 months broken down by country. And that is reports. Please see our online support. We've got a knowledge base at spiderstrategies.com, and all this stuff is thoroughly documented with even more information. But that should give you a good feel for what's possible in reports in Spider Impact.